marquee right out from 3.
Almost the last 9 minutes of that game was played within one possession. Would you make the way on the road? You guys are still one of the youngest teams in the league to handle the game pressure and how you execute down the stretch.
Yeah, you got to sometimes be able to win in the mud, and we had to win in the mud tonight. Obviously, that was a hard-fought game by both teams. It was a possession game for a long time, and the game, wasn't easy, for either team. And I just thought our guys' focus to be able to just stack possessions and execute the play in front of us and not get caught up in how the game's going was important tonight and was impressive. So it was a really good experience for us either way, but obviously very happy to come out with a win.
We talked at the beginning of the season about kind of the idea of a compounding nature of Jordan, Kaysen, Caruso, Wiggins, and Shai, these wing defenders that you had. Did that show up tonight, and just given the quality of perimeter players that they have?
Yeah, it was a good night to take a look at it with Dub and Chet out, and it was pretty good. And I thought for the most part, down the stretch it was a slog for both teams, but offensively it was pretty good too, and we still got some good stuff. But to be able to put one on Leonard, one on Powell, one on Harden, and still have Shai, and Hart, there's not a lot of holes there defensively. So I thought it looked really good. We haven't done that very much this year, and was excited to do it tonight, see what it looked like, and I thought it checked out.
What do you see from AC specifically on those last two equipment possessions?
He's just such a winner. He's got great competitive instincts, great situational awareness. He's always present in the game. He's never distracted by how the game's going for him. He just plays the next play the same way. And, the defensive versatility and intellect is also huge, to be able to put him on Leonard, move him to Harden. We started him on Zubac a couple possessions and switched him. He can do anything on that end of the floor. So he was really good tonight. It was a season high for minutes. Was pleased to see how he handled that load, and great game out of him.
Coach, the game was basically a statistical dead heat, except for your edge and second chance points.
And their edge in free throws. if we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, you got me on that. All right. So I want to know, how do you feel about the Clippers defense? The Clippers defense versus the fluidity of your offense, holding you guys under your average of 120 points.
Yeah, they were really good defensively tonight. They always, are a top 5 defense for a reason. They've got good individual defenders. Zubac is a really good rim protector. They've got smart players, so they put out fires out there on the court, and they're really, really well coached. They have great schemes and are always in the right places. They don't make a lot of self-inflicted mistakes. So, when you're going against a defense like that, you got to be really sharp. I thought we could have been a little sharper. It's certainly a game we can learn from, but a good experience for us. Like I said, to have to slog through that one, it puts an emphasis on the details on the offensive end of the floor, and something we can definitely reflect on and improve from.
Mark, just going back to AC, I don't know if he's had a lot of loud plays. Maybe not as loud as tonight. Defensively, in terms of his body of work this year, I know you can't put him in the mirror in the playoffs, but from our perspective, what's he add in terms of down the stretch, emotional maturity, that defensive toughness type, that sort of play?
If you watch his minutes, he's an incredibly impactful player on both ends of the floor. He really enhances his teammates and, helps glue our system together on both ends. That can kind of get, he hasn't played like a career high in minutes or anything like that because of the depth of the team, and that can get lost in the depth of the team at times. I think Kaysen Wallace's development can get lost in that. Caruso's impact can get lost in that. Wiggins, jump he's made offensively can get lost in that. And so, it may not have been loud to you guys, but he's loud for us every night that he's on the court because of the impact that he has on the team. And it was good, he did this similarly in Memphis where he got a start and did a hell of a job on Morant on a night where we had injuries. He started tonight on a night where we had injuries, and, you can plug him into those roles and those types of minutes, and he can expand his impact. But you play him 15 minutes, he impacts those 15 minutes with great consistency.
Mark, what did Lou do to still have a defensive impact even with the calls not going his way?
Lou? Yeah, I thought good tone on Harden early. Harden got a little bit loose later in the game, but I thought we got off to a good start there, and he does a great job on Harden. He knows his game very well. Just a disruptor. He sets an unbelievable tone for us with his physicality and his effort. I thought that was on display again tonight. And to be able to move him around the way that we're able to with Kaysen and Caruso out there is a luxury as well. So it was, it wasn't a signature defensive game for him, but another very impactful one, which he is every night.
Just from a tactical standpoint, how are you seeing the team adjust, learn from when calls aren't going teams' way, what that might mean for the postseason?
Well, we'd like the calls to go our way when we deserve them, but I thought we just played through everything tonight. Like I said, it was a ugly game. It's a low hundreds game. It was a possession game for the last maybe the whole fourth quarter. I didn't think Shai had his best game. He missed some shots I think he would normally make. It was a hard game, and to the credit of the team, we stayed present and we just played the possession in front of us. And you referenced the playoffs. That's what you need in the playoffs. You got to just have great competitive presence and not get distracted by anything outside of the possession that's in front of you. And I thought we flexed that muscle a little bit tonight.
Coach, I want to give you a lot of credit. I love watching y'all play. You just talked about it, competitiveness, but even all the way down from the beginning of the year, AJ Mitchell, K-Rich, Williams, y'all play hard every single day. What can you say to the kids, inspiring basketball players about playing hard, and when you get to the NBA, carving out that role, and then finally fine-tuning everything about your game, but playing hard first and competing every single night, how important that is?
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you. And then the second thing I just say is we have guys that love to compete and they love to play. And they love to play on a team. They don't just love basketball in a vacuum. They love competing together. And that gives you energy throughout the course of a year. And tonight I thought that was on full display. We've clinched the 1 seed. We've clinched a playoff spot. We have X amount of games left. If you don't love to compete, you can talk yourself into an 80% night effort-wise or a 90% night. But these guys love to compete. They express that with the consistency with which they compete. And then it builds momentum inside the team. It's contagious, and they're very like-minded in that way.
Hey, Coach. You talked about the jump that A. Wiggins has made this year. With no true second option out there, which tonight he led the team was second in scoring for the squad today. Can you talk about his impact and kind of how he put the league on notice this year?
Yeah, he's been a great developmental story for us. He was a two-way. He was a late second-round pick, and is a guy that came in and mastered the system on both ends of the floor early and made himself very functional and playable and found his stuff inside the system. And he's just gotten better and better and better with the work that he's put in. And he's now blended more creation into that. But he still gets the system stuff. He got a lot of catch and shoot threes tonight. He actually could have had a bigger night tonight. I was impressed with the amount of shots he was able to get and just find in the game. And he missed some good ones that he could normally get. But yeah, he's been a great developmental point of pride for us, and he should be very proud. He's done an unbelievable job forging himself into this player.
Got 3 more. We're going to go here, Adam, and then Joel will wrap.
Coach, before the season started, would you see yourself in this position, doing this well? And then also, how do you see yourself growing as a coach? How have you grown through this dynamic season that you're having?
I never come into the season with any expectations. We just take it a day at a time and a step at a time. So we try not to have any projections into the future. But I also have learned with this team not to put a ceiling on them. They've shown time and time again their ability to be uncommon, and I've gotten used to that and certainly believe in that. So nothing they accomplish surprises me. And I've just learned how to, work with them and coach them. At the end of the day, we have a great coaching staff, but it's our job to serve the players and put the players in positions to be successful. And we're constantly trying to figure out how to do that, not only our coaching staff, but everybody in the organization that touches our guys.
Coach, about 2 weeks ago, Shai told me that he's more of a
lead by example type of leader, not so much vocal, which outside of the organization, that may be additional shooting to him not being a leader. He's not loud about it. How have you seen this team receive his leadership?
We always say the leader's the person doing the right thing, and that makes leadership accessible to everybody and entitled to no one, and he walks the walk. He's a great worker. He's built self-confidence that is now contagious in situations like tonight. That shows up. And everybody is different. Everybody leads in their own way. We don't try to micromanage people's personalities. We encourage our guys to be who they are. And if you're doing the right thing and you're inside of who you are, you're leading. And everyone's different in how they do that. We don't want to make anybody feel like they have to be something they're not. And so he's fully himself. He walks the walk day after day. It's a beautiful thing, and how he does it is his decision, and he does it quite effectively.
Black and white for you, but usually soft associated for consistency, tonight. How would you measure that?
I had no gripes with them tonight. That's a big time crew. Mark, Davis, Nick, Evan. You're taking that crew every night. If they're on our game against Sacramento, next game we're taking it. So I have no problem with it.
Anybody else? Coach.
Thanks.
Alex, can you walk us through your perspective just on that last possession there where you guys are against
Be a little more specific. Which one? On the free throw?
the one
Before that where Shai got okay. Yeah, we just did a really good job. I saw the clip already. Tried to stay down on Kawhi. He tried multiple times to go. Kaysen was in a good spot to help. He threw it to Norman Powell. Lou got a great contest. Zubac tipped it out. And then from there, Kawhi caught it in his spot with me closing out to him, and Kaysen did a good job of being in the gap for me. He got off of it, got back to me, and then I kind of figured he wanted to go right. That's kind of traditionally where he likes to go. So once he went right, I tried to cut him off. And then Kaysen, again, great job of helping and being there for the spin, and just trying to force him into taking a tough one. You never know with guys that are of that caliber. Them getting a shot off in general, it could always go in. So just trying to be as locked onto him as I could, get a good contest, and then they did a great job rebounding on the backside.
What's it like for you, obviously the great defender, to be in a position like that, knowing you have a great defender in Kaysen Wallace behind you and Lou Dort on the other side?
Yeah, it really just it allows you to play aggressive, knowing that if someone picks up fouls or someone gets by you, that you have guys that can easily pick them up, and you don't have to worry too much about trying to get them out of the matchup or them taking advantage of it. And it just gets us going. No matter whose night it is, some nights it's me, some nights it's Kaysen, sometimes it's Lou, sometimes it's Hart, Chet, Dub, Shai. There's a handful of players that can get it going defensively. So whoever has that energy and that moxie, we kind of just follow their lead.
Actually, I know you're down a lot, so many questions don't come call for it, but we've seen you live with case on the floor, same time, we said decent. What have you seen from that?
Yeah, there's not a lot of holes when we have those three guys on the court at the same time. Whether you're putting, like tonight, I think we started Lou on James. He did a great job point of attack, and then I battled with Kawhi and had Kaysen on Norman Powell. When you have a team that has three guys like that all average 20-something in our kind of main engines, it's nice to have the ability to put us three on the court at the same time with them and kind of cover that up.
And then we talked about your sort of balance between being a team and a team, not a chaperone, but a veteran for a really young team.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that role of your job, your obligation there is, letting a guy like Kaysen seize your opportunity to get his moment, that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing for us as a team, is just everybody stepping into their own whenever the time calls for them, because you know what you're gonna get from two, you know what you're gonna get from Dub, and then all season it's been about playing off of them and whoever has the night. Like, I think Isaiah Joe didn't score tonight, and there's been games this year where he hit 8 threes. There was a game the other week where Lou went 8 of 14 from 3, and I don't know how many he had, maybe single digits tonight. Like, there's always opportunity for somebody to step up and be aggressive, and that's one of the luxuries of this team, is that we have so many guys that are skilled and versatile and can play. So a lot of that for me is just trying to keep guys to be aggressive. And even myself, like, I started the night, I missed 2 threes, airball one, ball slipped out of my hands on a layup. But part of me trying to get them to be aggressive and be confident is showing them that too, and myself staying confident and bouncing back, making plays from that.
In today's NBA, what can you say to the youth? Because I've been talking to a lot of high school players, and they'll be like, when they guard the best player, they're like, man, I get fouled, so I'm not going to guard the best. But like for you, what would you suggest in terms of, guarding the best, and then also just making stuff tough, instead of people just thinking like, you got to get every single stop, and if they do start cooking them out, just make it tough every single time. What can you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken on that before. Like the guys, and this is really true for the NBA, but any level, like the best player on the team, the top scorer, if you do a good job, they'll probably get to their average. And they might be a little below it, but they'll probably get to their average. And if you aren't locked in, like, they'll go for 30, 40 plus. So part of that is just having amnesia, like next play mentality. Like, they got a good bucket, all right, cool, you got to do it again. And then if you get a stop, it's like, all right, that was a good one. Well, I got to get another stop. Part of that's just being hungry to compete every single possession, because playing against greatness brings greatness out of you. So like every time that I get to play against potential Hall of Fame guys that are all NBA, all stars, I get excited because I know that it's going to bring the best out of me.
For you, just when you get 2, because I remember when I played overseas, like when I get 2, I'm like mentally I'm thinking about that, but like for you, guarding the best like a Kawhi, like when you get 2 fouls, like quick ones, how is that thought process and mindset for you? Because you're still aggressive, still make those shots tough too as well.
Yeah, it's just about learning how to play angles, play reads. Just try to work before they get the ball in spots to where you're at a disadvantage. And a lot of that, at least on this team, Mark does a good job of playing guys with fouls. He just says, if you're out there, you play. Like, don't worry about what your foul count is. Don't worry about the situation. Like, you play the game however you would. So a lot of that, kind of just breathes confidence into me to just go out and compete every possession, no matter what, what the game and foul count looks like.
Alex, that last play against Kawhi, where he has just so much size and strength, like, what's your strategy as a defender to take that away?
Combat that, yeah. Just trying to make it difficult for him. Part of it's working angles. He had a couple times where he just, big shoulder, and I don't know how much he weighs, but he outweighs me, and he's a stronger player than me. So it's just about fighting to get the catch out as far as I can, so that he doesn't catch it at 15 feet and end up at 5, 6, 7 feet. And then from there, just playing angles, playing positions, switching up, contact on his body, just to kind of keep him off balance, push his catch out, stuff like that.
Did you know that it was going to be you on him and not Lou in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, whole game we've had, we started me on him, Lou on James, and it was going pretty well. So yeah, I mean, I figured that was going to be the challenge.
Anybody else? Gallup, you got last one, Gallup.
I just want to ask you about the 15-0 run, second quarter. You guys went on, and they had gotten a double-digit lead, and just how massive in the moment that felt for you guys to be able to pull back that quickly with that group on the floor.
Yeah, I think we just kind of doubled down on the things that we knew we needed to do. We got a little slow, a little stagnant in the first quarter, and we kind of just let them dictate the terms, offensively, and we didn't really put up much of a fight. We gave up 16 points in the paint, 7 free throws. I remember those numbers because we said it multiple times in the huddle. And that was 23 of their 30-something points. So we just didn't do a good enough job of playing to our identity on that end. And so in the second quarter, we did a better job, turned up the physicality, energy, got out in transition, got some layups, and then popped the ball around and had them chasing instead of loading up in their shell defense.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, guys.
Shai, Mark said you guys kind of had to win in the mud tonight. How did that feel for this group who've been scoring 140-some points to get this experience and come out better for it?
Yeah, whatever it takes mentality. At the end of the night, the goal is to win, and however you get it done is a step in the right direction. Like Coach said, it's going to look ugly sometimes, it's going to look pretty sometimes. And we want to be a team that gets it done regardless, whether you make or miss shots, and that's what we did tonight.
Shai, what do you see from AC as far as the final two positions of defending, and what does he sort of add this year in terms of late game delivery, some of that stuff that, you know, maybe you guys can't, obviously can't face experience?
Yeah, he just affects the game. Like whatever the game needs and whatever the game calls for, he's willing to do. And like tonight, he makes the corner three, and he gets the steal, like in back-to-back possessions, I think. And there's been games where you don't notice him out there. There's been games he's been hurt a lot. Like whatever the game calls, whatever the team needs, like he does, and he gets it done. And because of that, he's been successful in the NBA and has achieved the goal that all of us set out to achieve. And he sets that tone and that mentality every game, every practice. And I guess that's what he brings to the team.
Again, obviously you can't replace experience.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like being prepared for his next postseason run, like how is he sort of bridge that gap? Do you have a personal moment with him where he's maybe giving you some perspective, or helping keep perspective ahead of the playoffs?
Yeah, not really personal, but he's always vocal. He's always like making sure that we're doing things, no matter what the game looks like, to head in the direction where we want to go. And he holds the group accountable in that way. Like regardless if it's a team that is not going to make the playoffs and is playing the last couple games of the season, or it's a playoff team fighting for seeding, like regardless what it is, we have to play to a certain standard. And I think that's been like his main message since the All-Star break.
Shai, Zoo was the only guy still left here from the rookie season, and he's talked a lot about how that series against Golden State was a big motivator for him because he didn't play a whole lot and wanted to get better. Just what can you say about the growth that you've seen him have from the time that you guys were together until now?
Yeah, really good player. Obviously great size. He's gotten better, it feels like every year, which is impressive. But yeah, Zoo's always he's always know how to play, he's always been smart, and then he's just put together the skill part of it in the past couple of years, and because of it, he's one of the best bigs in the game.
Shai, just curious how you, as you've developed over the years, navigate through a 7 for 26 sort of shooting night. How are you still able to impact the game positively, get 26 points, 8 assists? How are you still finding ways to impact the game positively, despite the shots that are not going there?
Yeah, the season, the years, like it's not always gonna be pretty, and I know that. So I don't ever let it being ugly affect me, and I also don't let it being very pretty affect me. Like I try to stay even keeled. I'm gonna have nights where I barely miss, I'm gonna have nights where I barely make, and regardless, I'm gonna have to get up tomorrow morning and do the same thing and try to get better. And that's what I'm after. I'm after just getting better every day, and I think because of that, I've had success.
This goes to another 7 seed in the West, but I think this is the third game together, fully healthy. Is this a team that you think maybe has some potential? Obviously that's great as well. But what do you think about that team now that they're fully healthy? What they're capable of doing?
Yeah, they're a good basketball team for sure. Great talent, well coached, guys with experience, guys that have had deep playoff runs, won championships. Like, when you put those things together, you're gonna be a good competitive basketball team. Like it feels like that for the whole West. Like from 1 through the play-in is good basketball teams that you can't take lightly, and it's been like that for as long as I can remember, and it's no difference. Like they're a good basketball team. They can beat anybody in the league. Like that's what it's been the rest of the year.
Shai, what's your brother?
So
Just kind of like last month, I went through your first summer league game, and it's just kind of funny because like you never once got it right, but every single time I've seen you play, no matter if it's the summer, we do summer league all the way down. For you, what I really want to ask you is like, for you in terms of your development what have you felt as being like your biggest leap in terms of your development, like from the start to now, in terms of that? What do you feel like is some aspects of your game that's gotten better?
My skill overall, just through hard work, has gotten better. And then I think in the recent years, I've understood like the game inside the game, and I've understood the mental aspect of the game and how to approach every day. And the skill is what everyone's after, and what everyone is fun and is pretty in the summertime, and you work on new things and you try to put them in the game. But the mental part I found is what really sets you apart and helps you take leaps, and trying to conquer that has kind of been the goal for me.
By that, because when Ron says game within the game, he moves best pieces around, knows how to dictate the flow of the game and also the pace. Is that what you mean in terms of game within the game too?
Yeah, he's obviously probably at the heightened version of that. I'm not there yet. Because of that, he's one of the best players to ever play, if not the. So it's like he's manipulating the game and stuff like that, and I don't really, I just try to do it my way. I try to help my team win games in that a bit, and whatever it looks like, it looks like.
Shai, this is your,
2-1. 1 year and 1 year.
this is your team's fourth time playing the Clippers this year. How would you rank them defensively with the other 20?
Say again?
How would you rank them defensively and with the other 28 teams?
They're good defensively, really good. I think their numbers say that. I think they're a top 5 defense, like statistically. They have good defenders, well coached, and because of that, they're a good defense. They make you work for it.
Is there anyone in particular that stands out to you defensively?
I don't know. They're all good. I don't know. They're all good defenders, and like I said, they're well coached.
All right, this will be the last question.
Shai, looking at your team perimeter defense, you guys had Caruso out there, you had Wallace out there, you had Dort, but all of them you led the league in steals last year, and you forgot about as a perimeter defender. So can you just talk about how that is kind of being that forgotten about the perimeter defender for your squad, and then can you talk about just your team perimeter defense as a whole?
Yeah, I don't get the same credit as guys defensively. Probably for a good reason though. I'm not close to any of those 3 guys you named defensively. Those guys are insanely impressive. I try not to be a liability. I try to compete. I try to get stops because that's what wins basketball games at the end of the day. And I try to, like I said, not be a liability. And then as far as team defense, we all know that's what helps you win games on the biggest of stages, and that's always our main focus. If we can stop you from scoring a certain amount, we can figure out the rest. And usually when we have bad nights and end up on the losing side of the column, it's because our defense wasn't there, and we know that. So every night we try to focus on that. Of course.
Thank you, Shai.